Hello and welcome. I am Ladi Akiriduluale. Tonight, federal government and ASUU in crucial meeting in Abuja in a bid to resolve the industrial action embarked upon by university lecturers over 3 weeks ago. Striking resident doctors promise to end their action tomorrow if the federal government pays the shortfalls of their salaries and allowances. On our big story tonight, we look at the plight of internally displaced children orphaned by the Boko Haram insurgency. And more islands in the Caribbean prepare for the impact of Hurricane Irma, just as Cuba and the United States state of Florida expect the devastating storm.
On business news tonight, African Development Bank promises to support infrastructural development in Nigeria.
And in sports news, South Africa considers appeal against FIFA's decision to order replay of the 2018 World Cup qualifier against Senegal.
And from Abuja, the northern chapter of the Christian Association of Nigeria calls for one united Nigeria amid agitations by various groups in the country.
We begin tonight in the nation's capital, Abuja, where representatives of the federal government and the leadership of the striking Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, have been engaged in talks to end the industrial action by ASUU. And after over 8 hours of negotiations, there appears to be no breakthrough yet. The meeting comes after the lecturers failed to attend the talks called by the Minister of Labour and Employment last week, saying the union was yet to conclude its consultations with its members. In his brief opening remarks before the technical session commenced behind closed doors, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, gave the assurance that the meeting would address the mistrust between the workers and the federal government. In his response, the ASUU president, Professor Biodun Ogunyemi, expressed optimism that industrial action will be called off if the government showed commitment to address the issues raised. Also in attendance are the Ministers of Education, the Senior Special Assistant to the President of National Assembly Matters, NLC President, and the Chairman of the Income and Salaries and Wages Commission. Meanwhile, the industrial action embarked upon by ASUU has entered the 3rd week, with academic activities still at a standstill in most of government institutions across the country. Our next report looks at the timeline of all the previous strikes and the issues at stake.
Over the years, the industrial action by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, seems to be an unwelcome constant on the nation's academic calendar. This obviously has had a telling effect on students and managers of the universities as well. In 2007, during the regime of the former President Olusegun Obasanjo, ASUU went on strike for 3 months. It held 1-week warning strike twice to press home its demands, which include an improved salary scheme and the reinstatement of 49 lecturers who were dismissed years earlier. In June 2009, ASUU ordered another indefinite strike over the non-implementation of the agreement with the union. After 3 months of strike, in October 2009, the union and other staff unions signed a memorandum of understanding with the government.
I feel very bad because it's just 2 months left for me to graduate and we are on strike.
Since their last strike in 2013, which lasted 5 months and 15 days, it was thought the era of industrial action was over. But the union embarked on another strike on August 14, 2017, grounding academic activities in virtually all government universities in the country. This time, the same issue have resurfaced, that government should meet its agreement signed in 2009 and the Memorandum of Understanding endorsed by both parties in 2013.
Based on a nationwide consultation with our members, an emergency meeting of the National Executive Council of ASUU rose on Saturday, 12th August 2017, with a resolution to embark on an indefinite strike action starting from Sunday, 13th August 2017.
Various reconciliation meetings have been held with the federal government to resolve the dispute, but all ended in deadlock.
Government, as you know, on 16th of August gave ASUU an offer through the Ministry of Education. And ASUU got back to the government to say that they needed us to deliberate on their counter-offer before we can have a formalized meeting. And we acceded to that because we think we have to do a government-side meeting on their offer before we then have a conciliation meeting to further discuss if there are further areas of disagreement or stamp an authority or presence to whatever the demands or their new demands should be.
And to make matters worse, the Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities on August the 6th directed its members to down tool with effect from September 11th.
Having comprehensively cleared from our members and gotten a direction from them, we hereby announce that the Jack of Nuts, NASU, and SANU has directed its members to embark on comprehensive, total and indefinite strike action effective from Monday, 11 September 2017.
Several demands and several government negotiations to resolve these issues. Perhaps, hopefully, the various dialogues will turn out positive.
Staying with strikes, striking resident doctors will consider suspending their industrial action tomorrow if the federal government pays the shortfalls of their salaries and allowances. This resolution was arrived at the end of the meeting between the National Association of Resident Doctors and representatives of the federal government in the early hours of today. Following the industrial action declared by NARD on Monday, September the 4th, the two parties held a closed-door meeting which began yesterday afternoon to negotiate a resolution. Among the 6 key issues listed by the striking doctors are government's failure to pay salary shortfall of 2016 and January to May 2017.
This meeting agreed that the NARD national officers are to present the outcome of this renegotiated memorandum of terms of settlement to an emergency meeting of its members by Friday, September 8, 2017, with a view to suspending the strike once there is evidence of payment of the mandate earlier presented to this meeting to the affected institutions. Finally, we also agreed, as item number 9, that no member of NARD will be victimized as a result of his participation in this strike. We expect that payments should be made to the affected federal tertiary health institution on or before Friday, September 8, 2017. We also agreed that the second batch, which is List B, mandate to be treated as soon as their AIE is sent to Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, since NARD claimed that Peter had already verified those shortfalls.
In spite of the diplomatic storm created by the killing of a Nigerian, Mr. Kingsley Carey, in KwaZulu-Natal province of South Africa barely a week ago, another Nigerian has reportedly died at the hands of the police, this time in Springstown near Johannesburg. 35-year-old Clement Kalu is said to have been tortured to death, allegedly by the South African police, also accused of killing Mr. Carey in the same manner. The wife of the latest victim, who is a South African citizen, claims that about 10 policemen arrested her husband from his shop yesterday on suspicion of being a drug dealer, an allegation her husband had denied. Our South Africa Bureau Chief Betty Dibia, who went to Springs near Johannesburg, now reports.
This street, 2nd Street in Springstown, that Mr. Clement Kallu's final ordeal began. His wife says it's not the first. It started here at the shop where he and his wife were said to be selling food. The deceased also lived in this building close by, and his devastated partner, Terry Mokwena, a South African, recounts the happenings that day.
They were busy beating him, flocking him. He couldn't even talk. He was busy asking for water. They didn't want to give him any water. They are busy calling him Nigerians, foreigner, all these names. I was busy crying there, begging them, why are you busy beating him? Because he's telling you that he is not involved in any drug business or what.
On the other side of the road, Robert Chauke claims to have witnessed some of it.
In the early hours of, I believe it was Monday or Tuesday. It was Tuesday, yes. I just saw 4 cars of the police there, and there were so many, which they were aggressive to the lady. Yes, they were asking about the keys and the husband.
Meanwhile, the spokesperson of the Ekurhuleni Metro Police, Wilfred Hasaho, gave us the police version of the report he received. Mr. Hasaho says Clement Kallu had been under surveillance for peddling nyaupe, a cocktail of hard drugs.
A drug enforcement operation on Tuesday, the 5th at 8:30, they went to his flat where they found 28 Ziplocs, small pockets of nyaupe, the drug nyaupe. And then he was arrested. Along the way, before they could even reach that place where he said he bought the drugs, he complained that he was not feeling okay, and then the officers also saw that he was not feeling okay. That's the report we received. And they informed the commander, and the commander instructed them to drive straight to the Springs fire station where the paramedics can check him out. And on arrival there, he was checked out, and unfortunately, he was certified dead around 10 o'clock.
The Springs police station was a chaotic scene on Wednesday, but all seems calm now.
Our brothers around there, with some other nationals, they went to the police station with weapons, actually, and protesting. So the police had to arrest some of them for public violence and disturbance.
Nigerians and non-Nigerians alike are incensed, but the Consul General in Johannesburg, Mr. Godwin Adama, calls for calm.
What has happened now will take us to another level of relationship that no Nigerian will be in any way attacked here again. And we have that assurance that this may be the last one.
No arrests have been made so far, but eyes and ears await the post-mortem results as well as the next actions of the authorities. From Springs near Johannesburg, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
Back here at home, the Imo State Police Command has paraded 5 suspects in connection with the kidnap and murder of Reverend Syracuse Onokwo. Among the suspects paraded is a police corporal based in Olu local government area where the body of the priest was found. The Catholic priest was kidnapped by gunmen last Friday from his vehicle in Olu town. His body, according to the Commissioner of Police in Imo State, Chris Ezike, was discovered the following day in a bush in Omoma village in Olu East local government area.
I am pained by the fact that some of the activities of these enemies of society have brought sadness, anxiety, general apprehension to Nigerians, especially with the abduction and murder of Reverend Father Syracuse Onokwo of Omuatuasin village, Osina, in Idato local government area of Imo State on the 1st of September 2017 at Banana Junction, Olu.
In part 2, after the break, leaders from Nigeria's southwest announced common position on the debate on the restructuring of Nigeria. Please stay on with us.